1968, Seattle, USA. At a private school called Lakeside School, two teenagers met for the first time. One was Bill Gates, 13 years old. The other was Paul Allen, 15. They quickly discovered they shared one obsession: computers. That year, the school bought a PDP-10 computer with a $3,000 annual budget, but these two blew through it in just a few weeks. They were so obsessed, spending all day in the computer lab, learning a programming language called BASIC. Money ran out, no more computer time. What now? These two high schoolers came up with a hack. They found a computer company called CCC and said, "We'll find bugs in your software in exchange for free computer time." Not only that, they loved sneaking into the University of Washington's computer lab at night to practice programming. Basically, wherever there was a computer, they were there. In 1972, they started their first business, Traf O Data. Back then, governments used rubber tubes across roads to count traffic, and data was recorded on punched paper tape. Reading these tapes manually was slow and expensive. They recruited Paul Gilbert, an electrical engineering student at UW, to build the machine. Gates and Allen wrote the software. Gilbert built the hardware. They made nearly $20,000, though the company eventually failed. But Traf O Data's biggest takeaway wasn't money, it was experience. Allen wrote an Intel 8008 emulator. That emulator later became their secret weapon. Without this experience, Microsoft might never have happened. Fast forward to January 1975. Paul Allen was walking through Harvard Square, passing a newsstand. He saw the cover of Popular Electronics, the Altair 8800. The headline, "World's First Mini-Computer Kit to Rival Commercial Models." Allen grabbed the magazine and ran to find Gates, shouting, "It's happening without us." They realized the personal computer era had arrived. And they, two guys who'd grown up playing with computers, could not miss out. They immediately called MITS, the maker of the Altair. Gates said on the phone, "We have a basic program that runs on the Altair. Here's the problem. They'd never even seen an Altair. They didn't have the program. MITS gave them a few weeks to demonstrate, but they didn't have an Altair. What now?" Allen wrote an emulator that made Harvard's PDP-10 pretend to be an Altair. Gates wrote the basic interpreter in assembly language. 2 whole months, day and night. The code was finally done. Wait, no, it wasn't. As Allen boarded the plane to MITS headquarters in New Mexico, he realized they'd forgotten a small piece of code. He had to frantically finish it as the plane was landing. Probably the most expensive homework on a plane ever. In the MITS office, Allen loaded the paper tape into the Altair. This was their first time testing on a real Altair. If it failed, everything was over. The room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. And then the lights came on. The program ran. Gates later called this the coolest code I ever wrote. MITS signed the licensing deal on the spot. A 19-year-old Harvard dropout and a 22-year-old programmer had just landed the most important deal in tech history. On April 4, 1975, they officially formed their company, called Microsoft at the time, combining microprocessor and software. A year later, they dropped the hyphen. That was the beginning of Microsoft. 2 high schoolers, one bluff, one gamble, and it changed the lives of a billion people. This is StickGoTech. See you next time.